Hello guys, DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I am here with,
Trevor Parker.
and what'd you play and what'd you place?
I played Prank Kids and I placed in top 16.
Alright, and you want to do any shoutouts before we hop into the video?
Yeah. Huge shout outs to Clark Lewis. He's like my testing partner, all that good stuff. And then big shout outs to all the Richmond duelists as well as like Tyree Tinsley, Karan, Andrew, Robert, Austin, everyone, everyone like that. Richmond duelists coming in on top or whatever. Um, yeah. But you want to just get into the deck profile?
Yep.
Cool. I played Prank Kids, so three Fansies, three Dropsies, um, three Lampsies, and three Roxies. I maxed out on all the names because I wanted the highest consistency of drawing these because I learned that the games that you like almost always lose is when you don't open a name rather than when you open too many names because you can still sometimes win those games, especially when you draw like Pandemonium and stuff like that. So I even maxed out on Roxy's as well. And I'm very glad I didn't draw too many names too often, but yeah. Um, I played for the hand traps, which is like the important part of this deck, really. The three Ash because it's the most generic. It was pretty good this format. Uh, three Veiler because it's good against Tri Brigade and all right against other stuff. Three Droll because it's very good against Drytron and okay against other stuff. Because basically I had trouble going second against Drytron, so I wanted something in the main deck to help me out with that matchup more. And Droll definitely did do that. Three Nibiru in the main deck because the kind of idea of my deck is that I wanted to just play off of one normal summon and that's it. Like I didn't want to use a bunch of cards just for my normal combo. So I wanted to be okay with getting rid of my board and then rebuilding a board the next turn if I can interact with their turn a high amount. So I played Nibiru even in the main deck. And I didn't regret it. I thought it was really good. I wish I saw it more. I didn't really see it very often. Um, Unfortunate, but it's all good. And then the last monster I played in the main deck was Pankratops. I actually really don't like this card in the main deck a lot of the times, but I learned that this is really, really good in a deck like this in the main deck because all your one-card starters are perfect for going first. So going a bunch of going second cards is just amazing because the games that you have trouble with is going second. So just having a bunch of power cards going second and then normal summon one card for going first is like that's ideal. So I was really happy I played this in the main deck. Um, it worked out really well whenever I saw it. I didn't see it very often, of course. And then three Prank Kids place. Again, I just wanted the most consistency of seeing them. I didn't end up playing Terraforming because I didn't want to play harder into Droll, where this deck already plays around Droll. Like, if they Droll or Veiler or Imperm, it's basically them like discarding a card. Pretty nice. But yeah, I didn't want to give them more cards to interact with Droll. So just the place. And three Pandemonium. I feel like this card is mandatory at 3. I can't believe people play 2 of this. This card's insane. The fact that it's a quick play is like the biggest thing. Like it plays through and around so many things. So it's wonderful. I can't imagine playing less than 3. It's I mean, obviously if there's like a different version of the deck maybe, but this like definitely in pure prank kids, 3 is very good. And then the spicy card that if you know me from Dueling Book, you know I'm on, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only one on this. 1, 2, and the third Thunder Dragon Fusion. I play 3 Thunder Dragon Fusion in the main deck because I think this card is extremely underrated and very, very good. Basically, the idea behind me playing this card is the deck, I felt like it lacked power cards a lot of the time, where like Pot of Desires is kind of a power card, but you never know what you're going to see off Pot of Desires. It does say draw 2, and draw 2 is nice, but you might draw 2 more names when you already have a bunch of names, or you might draw 2 more cards that aren't names. And I also, I played with every single name in the deck sometimes, so I didn't really like the idea of banishing names and losing some of my resources to play with. So I didn't really like Desires a whole lot. And I really hated Poly because it required you to draw another name, so you're basically playing with 3 cards, and I really liked the idea of just playing with 1 card, and if I got interrupted, I would draw 2 to 3 going second cards normally, so I would just interact with their turn, and then when it brought back to my turn, I would normal summon again. So this supported my deck plan a lot because I would just play with this and like another name, and if I didn't get Ash, this played through like every single hand trap ever. If they nibbed you on the 5th summon, you summon out the last name to make this live, and you're adding pranks. So you basically end with a draw and butler and setup for the next turn, and you shuffle back your resources. And if they bell you, they can bell this, but they already belled you, so you just activate this, and you still end with butler, and again a draw and a play for next turn. And so that's pretty good, as well as this played through Twin Twisters a lot, and that was really huge because if Butler's already on the board, Twin Twistering this in standby phase doesn't really do very much. And I obviously didn't play Imperm for that exact matter. I didn't want to make him Twin Twisters even better, so that's why I liked this card a lot. Yeah.
How was that card throughout the tournament?
This card was insane throughout the tournament. Every single time I hard drew this, I won the game, whether I made it live that turn or whether I like discarded it off droplets and gave me another name the next turn. Every single time I hard drew this, I won. If I hard drew this against my Dragon League matchup, which I ended up losing against in top 16, if I hard drew this game 2, I would have won that game without a doubt. I don't know about game 3. He might have won game 3 because he was going first. But I would have definitely won game 2, and it would have gone to a game 3. But every single time I hard drew this and was able to activate it, people were roasting me and just like, oh, play the bad cards. But they still lost that game, so I don't know how much you can say when you just lose in the game, you know? But it was very, very, very good. And when I go second, I would side 2 out, of course, because this card's obviously not doing much going second. But sometimes it would be insane going second because you can just summon Butler and go clear their entire board and then normal summon a Prank Kid. So I love that. Do you have any more questions about this?
No, not really. I mean, I'm assuming that you're playing like the Anaconda Fusion in the extra deck, or not
Yeah,
the Anaconda Fusion, but Anaconda.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt, I am. I like that. I'll talk about that more when I get to it, but yeah, I like that a lot as well. So 3 droplets, as I said. This card helped with when Thunder Dragon Fusion wasn't amazing, because like if you drew this, like if you didn't draw a name, but you drew this Thunder Dragon Fusion and like other interactive cards, you just set this, interact with their turn, and then next turn you already set up for your turn and like negated something and didn't die. So that happened a lot. Like, it's all right. This was great because I would like discard my entire hand and then normal summon a Prank Kids and just play off 1 card, because this deck can actually play with just 1 card. Like usually you need 1 card and then another card to banish off Roxy's. But with this deck, you know, you can just go into Verte. Like with this version of the deck, you can just go into Verte and still set up Butler and set up for your next turn and have Butler there for your turn and Meow and Grave. Like a lot of good setup with just 1 card where like you actually had to play with 1.5 cards. So it made droplets even better for that sake. So I loved playing this even in the main deck. It's very good against freaking Tri Brigade. And then just 3 1-ofs. My deck is extremely satisfying. It's just a bunch of 3-ofs and then 4 1-ofs. Call by the Grave because FTK Ash, you know, like gotta stop the FTK. Instant Fusion, this was amazing all day. I actually used it to play around Ash more than I used it to play like around Nibiru. I never really used it as like a soul charge because I felt like whenever I drew this card, I didn't want to use it unless I had to. So like I would try to like play into some stuff to try to bait out stuff, and because I knew I had this. So it was kind of whenever I drew this, I was like, all right, I don't have to play as safe as I usually do because I have this, but this was all right. I just never actually got to use it too much to its full extent, you know? And then 1 pranks because I didn't want to play more than this. It's really nice in my deck when you hard draw it because you can chain block the name and then set up Thunder Dragon Fusion even like quicker because they can't ash the name, and then after the first name you just basically already set up Thunder Dragon Fusion. So it's especially good to draw it, but I didn't feel like this card was supposed to be at more than one, unless you're playing Pot of Czars, but I want to play Pot of Czars, so this card was perfectly fine at 1. I liked it at 1. I didn't want to play it more than once, so it was perfectly good. Any questions about the main deck, Mr. Grinder?
Not really. I think you pretty much explained it all.
Oh, one thing I think I forgot. I played Valor over Imperm. Because if you draw it off Pranks, you can still use it, where Imperm you can't. Imperm ended up being really important in the against the Dragon matchup because I couldn't Imperm the Seal when it, at the start of my turn to normal summon a name. But it's obviously my deck wasn't built for Dragon Link because I didn't really expect too much of that in the tournament. Ironic, but it's whatever. Yeah. Extra deck. The 3 Meow Meow because I think if you play Talents, you can get away with just playing 2 of this, but 3 just felt mandatory to me. Again, my entire plan of this deck is to normal summon and then bait out the Ash and then normal summon next turn. You know, there's like, you got Ash this turn, but you better have Ash again, you know? 3 Dodal. This card's mandatory at 3. I can't believe people play less than 3 of this. This is like the extra deck. This is very, very good. Free resources when it's summoned, free resources when it gets it back. It's just, you better have Bell because this card is just insane. You can set up Butler with 2 Prank Kids cards without summoning 5 times with this, so that's very important to know when to do that and when not to do that. But yeah, very good at 3. 1 Bow Wow. I think if you play it correctly, you only need 1. It's perfectly fine at 1. The 16th card I feel like is another copy of this, but it's not like super important. And then the last Prank Kids Link I played, I did play the Rip Rowan Rooster. I like this card a whole lot. I think I only summoned it once the entire tournament, but I'm really glad I played it. Like, if they have a bunch of back row, you can just first interaction on your turn, like, you know, main phase fine, summon this, chain block, and then as chain link 3 or whatever, you can just use this to bait up all the back row. Or if they end up like striking this summon, you still get something back off it, as well as you most usually when you summon this, you haven't used your normal summon that turn. So I'm very glad I played this. It was good, even though I like never summoned it, of course. But yeah, 1 Rocket Ride, obviously very good. You definitely only need 1. The normal and correct combo, you don't even summon this. I don't know how many people actually know that. Normal Prank Kids players call it like the instant fusion combo because when you draw instant fusion, you normal combo without summoning this. But I learned that combo is just actually better. It plays around Nib better. It sets up your turn, your next turn better. It's much safer. Never summoning this is actually kind of cool because whenever you have to summon it, it's right there in the extra deck for you to summon it. So, you know, hold resources. Very smart. 1 Weather Washer. Sometimes this is better than Butler. It's crazy. This card's nuts. Absurd. And then I played 2 Battle Butler. 2 felt really important in my version of the deck because I'm playing Thunder Dragon Fusion. So sometimes I would like just summon this to use Thunder Dragon Fusion. The next one is like for the next turn or whatever. So 2 definitely made sense in this version of the deck. A combo, if you draw 3 names, you can actually set up Butler, because you summon it with Verte. You can set up Butler, and if they get rid of Butler, you summon Bow Wow back, have Pandemonium, and then to set up the next Butler. So it's pretty cool. So basically having 2 Butlers in the extra deck made it so you can sometimes play through a lot of stuff, or around a lot of stuff, I should say. But yeah, that was very good. It's not like mandatory, especially if you're not playing Thunder Dragon Fusion. You don't have to play 2 of this, but yeah, I did play Thunder Dragon Fusion. 1 unicorn. I used it as a stepping stool a lot of times. I didn't actually summon it to use its effect a whole lot, but just a stepping stool into access was very nice. Made it 5,300, and then like activate Thunder Dragon Fusion, and then that's 8,300. So that was cool. Did that actually a lot, and then 1 Verte Anaconda. I feel like this card is actually. I know you think this is not mandatory, and like I see where your reasoning is. I do, but I actually like this card a whole lot, especially because when you normal combo, you can set up for your next turn as well as have like pranks for shuffle back draw, and instead of like just doing your regular end on Bow Wow, you can end on this, and you play around Twin Twisters, which was huge for this event because a lot of people were playing Twin Twisters or Cosmic, and I only set 1 back row in this deck, so Cosmic basically was the same as Twin Twisters. But when I summoned this, I played around Twin Twisters because Butler was already on the board, and they didn't. It's not very common for people to side in like Dark Ruler No More against this deck because it doesn't really like. They don't see this coming, so that was very nice, even to just combo and end on first turn, because again, you shuffle back resources, so you have the resources back in your deck, as well as set up your next turn with Thunder Drag Fusion, and you, like I said, with the combo with 3 names, you get to set up double Butler, so that was, or I should say triple Butler effect, but that was pretty good. I liked playing that a lot, especially played around like every single hand trap, having this. I kind of wish I tested more with talents. I thought that card was good. I just didn't like it a whole lot like last format, so I didn't get enough time to test it this format, but I might try to fit it in again or try it again in the future if I play this deck continuing. So going, any questions about the extra deck?
So a lot of people that play the Anaconda stuff also play like a Link Spider to also be able to like play around Nib better or use like the pranks token to go into Anaconda, and you decided to not do that. Just wondering why.
I felt so that didn't. So if you play talents, like I was talking about, if you play talents, you would actually just cut this for the Link Spider, or this or the second Meow Meow. I think just cutting this is fine though. You would cut this for the Link Spider, and then you would talent steal the Nib, and then turn the Nib token into Link Spider, and then make Verte after you got nibbed. But I think if you're not playing talents, it's a little awkward to play Link Spider because you also have to play Link Karibo in the extra deck, which means you're probably cutting the second Doodle or the second Butler, which I also don't like the idea of, and it didn't make sense, especially when I was playing 3 Thunder Dragon Fusion, because you have to turn the Link Spider. So that what you do is you turn the Nib token into Link Spider, and then you summon a token with Pranks, and you turn that token into Link Karibo, and then you turn those 2 effect monsters into Verte. But that means that was kind of a weird situation that I didn't really come up a whole lot. And it required you to not have already used Pranks effect to summon a token, and it required you to have another Pranks card in hand, which, yeah, it is common, but still. And it required 2 other cards in the extra deck, so which those 2 cards didn't come up a whole lot. So I didn't really like it a whole lot, especially because it meant I couldn't have used Pandemonium that turn because Pandemonium locks you into Prank Kids. So if I wanted to go into that, I couldn't, like Link Spider Verte, Link Karibo, or whatever, I couldn't have used. It was just a weird scenario that just, I'm going too far into it. It was a weird scenario that didn't come up enough, and it just did not make it into the final cut.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. I see a lot of people like cutting Doodle down to 2, Meow down to 2, and most people only play 1 Battle Butler. But like, you're playing the 3 Thunder Dragon Fusions, so like, playing 2 Battle Butler definitely makes sense. And also, I think the second or the third Doodle and the third Meow, I mean, I think those cards are pretty good.
Pretty good.
Like, you just want to have like a strong engine.
Exactly. And the third Doodle like plays around and plays through a lot of stuff. Like when this deck is insane against back row, but it playing only 2 Doodle actually makes your deck a little bit worse against back row. If you play this deck a lot, you kind of understand what I mean, but summoning like the 3rd Doodle actually comes up a lot, because the normal combo that I do, I summon 2 Doodles. So if I get interacted after I summon the 2nd Doodle, I want the 3rd Doodle in the extra deck. So if it's not in my extra deck, I obviously can't summon it. So the 3rd Doodle did come up a lot, especially with me doing the combo that I normally do. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that all the questions you had over the extra deck?
Yep.
Cool. For the side deck, I played 3 Lancia. I felt like going into Top Cut, I felt like this was supposed to be, like, after Swiss, I mean, this was supposed to be Bell, not Lancia, because I didn't feel like this was flexible enough and it was only good against Tri-Brigade. I played this in the side deck because I wanted something to take Droll out, because Droll's not super good against Tri-Brigade. It's only really good against them if they start with Tenki, or if they like don't already have Revolt and you get to Droll them on Nerval and they can't get to Revolt. But again, that's only kind of okay. It doesn't really stop them too much. So I wanted to take out Droll for something good against Tri-Brigade, and that's kind of what Lancia was for. But if you can tell, my entire deck is only good against the meta decks. Like, I didn't plan for Prank Kids at all. My plan for Prank Kids is I'm going to be better than the Prank Kids player that I'm going to play. So I don't have to plan for it, because I'll just outskill them. And that's actually what I did when I played 2 Prank Kids in Swiss. I did actually turn it into a skill game, because after turn 1, this deck turns into a skillful deck. And if you don't know how to play past turn 1, you'll get punished. Which that's kind of what I turned it into. I forced them past turn 1, and then they were like, what do I do? Like, yeah. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You've played a little bit of Prank Kids.
Yeah, I like that strategy. Not just like in Prank Kids, but like in general. I'll just be playing.
Right, just like, I'll be better than my opponent. It's fine. Shoot. Like, that's the game plan. Just be better.
Exactly.
So Lancia probably should be Bell, is what I was trying to say, because it's still good against Tri-Brigade. It stops the Revolt, which is really the big hit against this deck, with Revolt on the normal summon. As well as it's good against other decks. So in Top Cut, like, looking at Top Cut ahead of time, like, because there was way too much preparation. Like, there was 3 weeks of break before actual Top Cut, and it was just really freaking annoying and stressful. Testing for Top Cut, this card was insane, because I don't, like, maybe not a lot of people knew this, but they randomized the Top Cut matchups instead of doing what I was, like, I was 13th place, so I was supposed to play against, I think, 6th place in the normal bracket procedure, but they randomized it because of all like the setup or whatever, the build up to the tournament, and because of that, I ended up playing against Dragon Link, which this card is still alright against, but like, this card against Tri-Brigade was amazing, and there was a lot of Tri-Brigade and Virtual World, so this card was also good against Virtual World. So looking at the Top Cut, this card was good, but in the future, this is probably going to be Bell. Yeah. And then 3 Cycle Reader. So I wanted a card to take Valor out for, because Valor's very good against Tri-Brigade, but only alright against Drytron, as well as this. I wanted a card that helped me with the Drytron matchup, mainly because if they played Natasha, like, I know that's not very normal right now, but if they played Natasha, Pranked floods the board. So if they played Natasha, they would bait out the double Butler and then steal your entire board and OTK you. So that was really hard. So I needed a card, even more cards for the Drytron matchup. But I was very happy I played this. When I saw it against the Drytron matchup, it was amazing. One time I saw 2 and then like 2 names, and I normal summoned, he ashed. Next turn I did this, he passed, and I normal summoned and he ashed. The next turn I did this and he passed, and then next turn I drew a name for turn and I normal summoned, and he was like, "Yeah, you got it." I was like, oh my goodness. So I was really glad I played this. This was awesome. And then 3 Judgment. That's all the monster cards. Well, I do play one more, but yeah. 3 Judgment. This card, I feel like it's a kind of a weird card to side deck, like, looking a lot, but this inherently Prank Kids is built kind of like a rogue deck, so it loses to some weird stuff. So having this card, just more strength going first to stop like Twin, or any other random cards. This was very good. I liked this. I'll obviously keep playing it in the future. It was just a little weird. I also like top decking this or drawing it off pranks was like super awkward. My entire like deck was built to like top deck really well, especially with like Thunder Dragon Fusion. As you can imagine, that's insane to top deck. But this was obviously not a good card to top deck. So this was a little weird, but it was all right. I'll play it again in the future. It was good. And then the Packer Hate. I played 3 Twin, the Duster, as well as Red Reboot. I want to talk about Twin real quick. Twin was this was basically like my idea that like this is the only good card in my entire deck that was good against Brankits. Obviously Ash too and Nib, but this was like, all right, going against Brankits, I'll just side out the Droll because that's you just discard a card. I'll side out the Droll, put this in, and then like they won't have Thunder Dragon. They're not as smart as me, so like they'll play into Twin as they usually do. So this was good. Obviously, I needed more cards against backward decks because my entire main deck is just a bunch of hand traps, and it's not very good against backward decks. So playing 3 Twin was, instead of like 3 Cosmic, this was very good. I liked playing it, but I didn't want to play too many cards for like bad decks. So I only played like these 5. Didn't play like Lightning Storm or like more Cosmics or anything like that because I just felt like backward decks just aren't that good, so I would just eventually win. So this was fine. Red Reboot, I know this is not played in a lot of Prank Kids lists, which I understand why, because they say like you have to kill someone after you use this, which I understand that, but you actually like, I found you really don't. Like if you Red Reboot them and they have like 3 card set and they set a 4th, and they're playing a backward deck, which like Altergeist, what are backward decks? Guru, like what's it, Eldritch? Like those are all like not very good decks, and they lose to out resourced by like Prank Kids games. So if you just Red Reboot them and then like there's a combo with just one name where you Red Reboot them, go into Rooster, and then have a like Wind in defense, which is 2000 defense, big booty. You just destroy all those back rows and then just turn it into a grind game. And with my deck, I have I play a lot of names, as you saw, so I would just top deck, I would just keep playing with the names. So I would end up winning those grind games, as well as this was very good against like Tri Brigade, which seems a little weird, but you lose to the Revolt activation. And if you get to play the game, you actually end up winning. You can break a Tri Brigade board with like name Pandemonium. Like you really can. So this stopping like Revolts, just as a one of, as well as like they played some strikes. This was good. I like this. So I'm very glad I played this, even though it is abnormal. And then the last card is just one Kaiju. It's a little weird, just the one of, but it was good. I liked it. The reason it was kind of there was that I had on Dueling Book, which is where I mostly test, the Adagnister deck before this event was huge. Like a lot of people were playing it. A lot of people. I thought it would be a lot bigger this event. And the only real way you can get over a 6,000 attack point Adagnister guy is like summoning Rooster and then using Rooster and a Link 2 to go into Access Code and then making Access Code like 8,000 or 6,300. I mean, and then attacking over it. And that just almost was very hard to get to. But you can stall out with like Weather Wash or Bow Wow, like looping those guys until you draw this. So one Kaiju was just plenty, as well as I played the Wind one because of the barrier statue. It just seemed to make the most sense, but I actually kind of regret playing this one because the barrier statue didn't really come up at all. The fact that it was Wind didn't come up. I wish I played something smaller than Pankratops, as well as easier to reduce under 2,000 with place, which that came up a lot. So I wish I played either the Wind one, or the Earth one, which is 24 and it would go to 19 after place, or Gamma Seal, which would go to 17 after place. So this was probably supposed to be Gamma Seal, but it was fine. It was good. I Kaiju Dragoon a lot because against like some random rogue deck or whatever, I sided in like just this and like 2 twins because I just didn't really understand what was happening. And I drew this starting hand, and I just kaiju'd the Dragoon, and then played after that. Like, it's just not good. Oh my goodness. Anyways, also, I do want to talk about real quick, I play a lot of 3-ofs in my deck, so that's why my side deck is a bunch of like 3-ofs. I don't usually think this is a good idea to build a side deck like this, because it doesn't actually like make a lot of sense to side in 3-ofs into the main deck, because it just numbers don't really equal that way, you know. But with my deck playing a lot of 3-ofs, it made a lot of sense to play 3-ofs in the side deck as well. So that worked out well. But my matchups were basically, I planned for it to be like Tri-Brigade and Drytron, and it ended up being a lot of Rogue, some Tri-Brigade. I think I played 2 Drytron, and then like Sky Striker, which was free. And then in Top Cut, I ended up losing against Dragon Link, which he ended up getting second place, which was Darren. Great duelist, he did awesome. He definitely outplayed me. I'm not even gonna lie about it. He outplayed me. I lost, but it's all good. It happens. My deck was not built for Dragon Link, and like game 1, my hand was like 3 Valor, and I was like, this. If you don't know, this card does nothing against Dragon Link. So that did not go very well. And then game 2, he like had Gamma and Bell, which was hard. And then next turn after that, he just OTK'd me because I played into his trick. He got me, but all good. He got second place. Congrats to him. And yeah, that's the deck.
Talking about like the side deck thing, like with the 3-ofs, I actually find that like a lot of decks, this format, like in particular, that like the 3-ofs actually make a lot of sense. Like just with like a lot of how like the meta decks are being built, which is like really weird because most formats like having all 3-ofs just doesn't actually make sense. Like when you're trying to like side deck stuff in and side deck the right amount of stuff out.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like my side decks almost never look like this. Like almost never. Like usually it's like this, but sometimes 2 like 2s. I wouldn't play 3 land. Like it's definitely a lot random. So seeing a side deck like this, like going into a tournament with a side deck like this, I was very it was interesting, but it made sense with my main deck being a bunch of 3-ofs. So yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we hop off the video?
This was a great choice for the event because a lot of the hand traps were really, really bad against prank kids. So that's why I definitely chose it. I think the meta is going to change quite a lot, especially with Pac winning the event. Congrats to him. He played very well. But I don't think this will be actually the deck to play in just a little bit, which is weird coming from me if you know me from Dueling Book, which I've played this deck nonstop. But congrats to Pac, congrats to Darren. You know, the tournament was pretty fun. If you have any Prank Kids questions or would like to roast me, please message me on Dueling Book. GingerTop. Just roast me away. I'm a very good sport. It's all good. I like it. But I think, real quick, getting back to Extract, I know this sounds weird, but I didn't play Toad because I think that's a really big win war card, which only came up when you already had a different path and you were already winning the game. So that's why I didn't play Toad. I don't think it's necessary. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much, and yeah, shout out to DB Grinder, yo, 22,000 subs. Let's get it, yo. A couple more days, right? Oh,
let's go, yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. With all that being said, the DB Grinder signing off. Peace. Have a nice day.